A mysterious event. A calendar date you don't remember making. An anniversary you weren't aware of. You have found the Phenomenauts Podcast 1 year Birth-vers-mas-ary.
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 I like it.
Hello, you atomic clusters of mad minerals and strange substances. You have tuned into the Phenomenauts Podcast, a weekly show where we look at the weird, wonderful and mysterious happenstances of our and occasionally other universes. Taking you on this ride is myself, D. Barnes, and the ever-awesome
Amber Hall.
We are a multi-platform podcast, so find us on YouTube, the new channel, the Phenomenauts Podcast. We'll still be updating to the old one as well for a little bit. Just make sure you change over there.
Let's kill it, D.
Everything else is still the same, so don't worry about that. And don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Transistor, all that lovely stuff. Please do remember to do the likes, the follows, the shares, the subscribing, the downloading. It really, really does help us out.
And it gives me that little tingly, warm, happy feeling inside.
Yeah.
And you'll have done that personally. Well done.
Exactly. Amber, how is it going?
It's going all right. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, D. We've been going for a long time, and I'm just really another year, and I'm so happy. Just it's quite nice. We've done well.
We have.
Yeah, this really came from nothing, didn't it?
It really did. So this week we're going to be having a bit of a chillax session because we're very happy because by the time this goes out, we will have been doing this for 3 days short of a year.
Yeah.
So we're calling it a year because we've got lives and recording schedules, and we release on a Monday, so we got to make this work.
I can't record on a Thursday, but technically 1 year anniversary will be a throwback Thursday. So that's what we're going with. TBT.
Yeah, we figured we'd have a nice. We'd just chat about the podcast, have a bit of a relax,
and reminisce over some
reminisce. We can resurrect some old bits, that stuff.
It's all good. We strangely every week it's quite pressing to do all the research and write the notes and everything. And I really love it because looking through the list of all the things that we've done, I'm like, wow, that is a long list.
Yeah, I was going through because Amber did a massive list of all our previous talking points on the show.
So a couple of days ago, I just had to watch through the majority of what we've done, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
We've changed a lot.
And the thing is now we can keep it up to date because that's what happened.
We have changed a lot from the first episode.
We definitely have. And you know what I think is wild looking at the list? I can remember each episode.
Right.
Like, I think, I don't know whether it's because we had to write scripts or whether it's just because it sticks in my brain, but I can remember most of the things we've talked about. I'm not going to promise in any particular detail, but I can remember them.
I remember talking about placebos, and that was like the end of last year.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, I remember doing those episodes. I remember researching them. I remember writing the notes for them. And I remember talking with people through the week while I was working on it. And it just seems like yesterday.
I remember having full-blown conversations with people about episodes before they've come out, just because I want to, go through my talking points or maybe, sort of test it on an audience kind of thing. And I'll remember these conversations, and they'll have happened literally a year ago in some cases, where it's like, God, talking to Oscar about something. And it's just like, wow, I remember all these weird conversations and all these little things that link with the podcast. I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I was talking about a year ago.
My goodness, yes. The Dogon people of Africa. Yes, I've got information about them, but when I'm at work, they're like, now, what button do you need to press to do this? And I'm like, I can't remember.
Living off the go-fast bean juice.
I haven't made that appointment again, but obviously we know a lot about space.
But I can remember my podcast.
We know about space, we know about ghosts, aliens, the whole lot.
A lot. And you know what I did do was a couple little talking points so we could riff off something.
Boom, let's get in there.
What do you think if you had to pick, and this is, I've got different questions, so don't overanalyze them. So, what do you think would be your favourite episode? Don't think about necessarily, what we talked about, just think about which one kind of, because we've got a list in front of us of all these episodes. because we knew we want to riff off some, you know, talking points like we're doing now.
Let me pick one. Let me have a look. Right, so there's quite a few that I like. We were just having a laugh before about basically earthquake lights, and then the videos that came along with it that were like rapture trumpets. It's just so bamboozling, and the fact that so. When you say favourite, I don't really like doing favourites, but there's a few where I remember them being really funny.
Definitely.
Or there's a few where I go, I still talk about that with people, and everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah.
So in that way, rapture trumpet's funny.
Yeah, I suppose instead of looking at it as favourite, look at it just as the one that kind of sticks with you, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, to be honest, that's quite a good one, the rapture trumpet.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
You know, someone's sawing through some metal in the next door neighbour's, you know, shed, and you just go out onto the balcony and go, repent, the end is nigh. Like, it just seems like so crazy that some people would hear the brakes on a train and then basically go, well, it's the end of the world, guys, so I hope you've all repented for your sins now.
Yeah.
Very crazy. But, so that's funny. I like that. But my favourite one that I still have conversations with is the whole, do we have free will?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Big question. Even just earlier today before I came over to record, I was speaking with a friend and they were saying, yeah, but... And then they explained like, oh, well, it's the start of the universe and hydrogen and the way that like energy efficiency and entropy and chemical reactions. Like, do we have free will? And it's very weird to have seen from that point where I was really, really deep in that hole going, do we have free will? Oh, I don't know.
No.
But things have changed because when they said it today, I just went, it doesn't matter.
But that's the thing. It was such a big topic. It was episode 12, I think. Free will and altruism.
Oh well, let's have a look because we've got a list here.
We've got a list.
Free will, altruism. Episode 12.
That the one? Yeah. And I do remember just because it's such a mind-boggling, eye-opening thing to talk about because you've kind of broke down reality a little bit, and maybe we're not supposed to do that, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah. The shackles of being the mind trying to analyse itself.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to look at this from a distance. But I am both the thing looking at it from a distance and the thing.
Yeah, I am the thing. I am the observer and the subject. So
it's a bias you cannot get beyond.
Yeah, never. You can never get past that. So how do you research something like that? So there's all these questions. One of the most fundamental, like unanswered questions of humanity is, do we have free will? And I think it's fantastic because we did a whole episode on it, and we could do another, and we could do another. And I could have conversations for hours with my friends, and it's always gives.
Yeah.
And it feels like such profound revelations when you start to challenge the ideas about what you find to be reality. And then we break it down and go, yeah, but does that actually exist and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's just that feeling. I like that kind of like, you know, I've shaken my understanding of the world. The novelty.
I've kind of thrown everything off its axis a little bit, and isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Something that I take so for granted. I can always throw off kilter on any occasion.
I just like the novelty of being able to, you know, literally change perception through just having a conversation. Like, we'll talk about something for an hour and a half, and then we'll kind of blow our own minds a little bit sometimes because we, like, I know we've mentioned it before on the show, but obviously, you know, we talk outside the show, and sometimes we will just sit there for hours talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it's just fantastic that we've got a format where we can research things that we would be interested to talk about anyway. It's been very nice. Well, what about yourself though, Dee? What's your favourite episode?
Well, like I said, the one it's less of a favourite, more of the one that kind of springs to your mind a lot. And I gotta say, I'm kind of torn between the one I want to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about both. And like I said, you know what, picking a favourite's really damn hard. That was a really bad question.
Right. I don't do favourites, but like I said, one that I find funny, one that I just like the sound of. Probably if I had a look through, I'd change my mind, but hey.
I was a very big fan of episode 22.
Episode 22, let's have a look.
So,
magnetoreception.
And the indecipherable manuscript. So I'm pretty sure that's in reference to the von Euck manuscript.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. So just put indecipherable manuscript.
I think I've called it many similar thing because I just don't think I stuck with the von Euck manuscript because I was like, it's got so many different names though.
It's like made out of lambs or something. Like
I've got to say that I do realise I'm a nightmare for that when I'm writing my scripts, is that if something has multiple names or has just any AKs or it's been mentioned once as a different name, I will try and throw as many as I can in.
You just keep bouncing around. Like the quaking aspen, the trembling giant.
Yeah,
like it's got loads of names.
The great pando or something like that. Like so many things have so many names, and I like trying to fit them all in. But I appreciate that might be confusing. I'm not sorry.
Go and read the Wikipedia if you want to know about it.
Yeah, but the other one actually, and it's not just because the next 21 was really fun. Like 21, I still think about today.
So, which part are you meaning specifically on that?
All of it, because we went from the extragalactic radio bursts.
Yeah.
So
FRBs.
So is there life out there? Because I know we do tend to boil things down to their sort of bigger topics. I think and maybe some
is there life? Are we alone? Like the nature of reality.
And I think it's always good when we come at these things from a lens, so we're looking at one particular aspect of it.
Yeah, because otherwise I think it'd be a bit too big and abstract to talk about, are we alone in the universe?
But we give it a sense of scale, and I always appreciate that, because I think it makes talking about it a bit easier. Like, because it's not on a giant universal scale, we've gone like, yeah, but this one thing.
Yeah.
Then we had quantum scrambling and time reversal.
Oh, yeah, because... so I wanted to talk about black hole computers, because I like the idea of them. That was brought up on PBS Spacetime. I love the concept, went and researched about it and stuff, and I loved researching it because I got to understand it more. But the fact that we're starting to see experiments where we're messing with quantum reality, where we can make states move backwards in time that never happens naturally. And the quantum scrambling means that you could have computers based on black holes, which would be able to hold information like nobody's business. You could render the entire universe on a black hole computer, like the black hole we have in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. You could render the entirety of the universe, which means possibly it has been done or can be done. It's such a huge topic, and like I said, that tingling of oh my goodness, is this a simulation kind of thing?
It was when we moved into talking about like the actual computing as well of the black hole, like how much could you physically get there, what could you do with it, how would you decode that? It felt very real in a sense, because all the topics were so very closely linked, and they were sort of
really trying to explain as well, stuff like time reversal in a quantum system. Like we were talking about how many, if you had like 1 billion electrons doing an action every second since the start of the universe, only now would you see one of them go back 1/10,000,000th of a second. But in this experiment, they were able to do it like 1 out of 5 times or something like that. So like being able to put things in scale, talk about what's natural, and then what these people are achieving, I love it. Those kind of physics, I love. The dual slit experiment. I can't believe I didn't say that was my favourite.
Hang on, because I was going through the list and I was like, I hadn't forgotten, but I could not remember for the life of me the episode. But that's actually going to lead me on to my next bullet point, I think, because I was going to be like, the third one is 26. No, here's a good category. Which one blew your mind the most?
It's got to be the double slit.
It has to be 26, right?
The double slit experiment.
We had the double slit experiment and savantism.
Yeah. People like bang their head and then they're just amazing at things. So the uncracked mysteries of the brain and mind.
Like the untapped potential of the human brain that we're not even really beginning to... Well, we are beginning to understand it, but we're still trying to wrap our head around, that sort of thing and how that works. And then at the same time, also this thing that just defies every concept of reality we have.
Hey, check it out. Here's all the rules that we know to be true. If you look at them in this way, in this experiment... You can see that the universe can change itself back in time, which means it's almost like deterministic. It has to land on what's happening, and then that also has implications for like the nature of reality and free will and stuff like that. So like, it is a big topic. But like savantism as well. That guy got hit on the head, fell down, banged his head, went migraines, and then when he got better, he could like see geometry everywhere.
Yeah, he could like
he could see the mathematics,
depict, like expressions of pi and things like that.
He could like look at a circle and just go, I can see pi and stuff like that. And it's just because he got hit on the head. Like, what the hell is going on there? Oh, it's fantastic. That would have been a mind-blowing one. Yeah. I like that.
Definitely.
I think that was around the time we were watching Westworld as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you've mentioned this, we probably have in the past. So normally, like, post-podcast, we will get some pizza and watch some TV, and we're normally going through a series. Westworld, though, I think it must have inspired some of our greatest work.
I think we did speak about free will when we were doing Westworld. Because then when we finished, we spoke about it for about half an hour, then we watched an episode of a show that really calls into question these same concepts.
That was it, and we'd get to the end of the episode and then we'd be like, okay, we've spoke about that one and that makes a bit more sense, we've rationalised it, but then the show would maybe make us re-examine it or throw us another curveball and we'd be like, we kind of need to go with that.
Or even it would just present these abstract questions that we were asking, but in an actual format of a television show, so you had something to measure it against.
I got one. Right. Hear me out, listeners. If you want, we do this pretty much every week, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, we're always trying to keep those seasons going when we're not recording, and as you just said, they do kind of fall into how we work.
Yeah.
If you can think of any mind-blowing series, send them to us. We could give them a go.
Yeah, so here's the thing. It's not just if you go, oh, please talk about this topic. If you go, hey, you want a mind-bending, fiction, watch this, because that'll make us think of things. It'll make us approach things differently, and it will actually influence the content that we create.
Yeah, and this was my thoughts in saying it, is that, if you watch a series and you think, oh, that really made me think differently, or it really made me question this particular thing, literally just let us know, and we'll try to fit it in, or we'll give it a go at the very least, and it might become a talking point.
Because if someone went, I want you to talk about free will or AIs, but what would be good is watch Westworld, which is about free will and AIs and stuff like that.
Because it kind of inspires that research a little bit.
Yeah,
because you kind of got a narrative to.
Even having something presented to you will then give you the platform to come up with new questions, and then you can explore those and ask the really interesting, weird concepts of a certain topic. But then if it was go and watch Annihilation and then talk about aliens or something like that, or
admittedly, I think that could inspire a really good discussion on certain types of philosophy.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's got lots of philosophical questions in it and stuff like that. And then even the characters have different ways of approaching similar issues and stuff. So you can look at psychology, look at the nature of reality, aliens.
We maybe should do that a rewatch, because I bet it could spawn some good stuff.
Annihilation, horrific, but you know what?
Well, it is nearly Halloween.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you.
Okay, so I've got the next talking point was, what was your favourite, I'm going to say article, in the sense that, was there any particular bit of research you did that really was just in your brain, and it's maybe not one article, it was maybe several different articles, but it was just, again, don't think favourite topic, but what do you think was the most
source?
Yeah,
the source material that was most well, for me, what got me the most was the induction of a shadow person. So this person went in for preclinical screening to see whether they could have a certain surgery, because they had epilepsy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they put electrodes in her brain, and then they would stimulate different parts to see how it responded, to see if she was suitable to have this type of surgery, which wouldn't damage her brain. And what they found was applying a certain voltage would make a shadow person appear in the room, manifest.
Yeah, I remember this.
And this was a scientific article in Nature. Nature, the most, bona fide science publication that there is. And this was a study in there, so it wasn't just have you heard this? Just an article on a news site or something like that. What it was a scientifically controlled study where they were just reporting how they'd induced a shadow person in this woman's mind. And I was I read through it, and it ruined me.
I remember it spooked me as well, because we were sat there talking about that. Yeah, so basically, if someone kind of boops your brain in the right way, it's going to make you hallucinate a shadow person, and it's sorry, what?
So it had all of the hallmarks of a compelling cryptid story or a ghost story, but it was an actual scientific thing. They had a quote from her saying, he's trying to stop me from selecting the cards. He doesn't want me to. And that was just a quote, because they were we were sat there, obviously, we were taking notes, and she was saying things and we'd take the quotes.
Yeah.
And she was saying things that would be spooky in a horror film. If it was
wow,
can you see the ghost now? And they're they don't want me to do the thing. But it's just in their mind that it's manifested. That for me, that was my favourite article. Just because, I'm a scientist, so you show me a good, nice, chunky, clean science article which depicts something horrific, then come on. That's scary for me, because that's true.
Yeah, because it's somehow more scary because it's real, because it happened. You've got all this validity and logic of science going, here is a paper on this terrifying thing.
I suppose that
makes it more real.
It goes very closely with sleep paralysis as well.
Yeah.
That's real as well, and everything I was reading about it. It's terrifying. It's an information hazard.
Yeah.
People are more likely to have sleep paralysis if they know the concept and have spoken about it.
This was the thing I was going to say for my favourite article. is I kind of have two things I think I'll say, because we research differently.
Yeah.
We just have different methods of approaching it and things like that. So I know for me there has been, like, any time we get information hazard, I love it. Anything that's because someone had the gall to actually write that and put that somewhere, and I had the gall to read it, and now we're both cursed.
It's like, hey, if you read this, you're going to have a horrible time.
It's like,
and it's just
we're going to talk about that particular facet of AI. Well, we've kind of cursed ourselves now if that happens.
Oh, no.
And I don't know why. I think that it's just a bit spooky and kind of rocks me a little, and I kind of like that.
Yeah. It's just, here's an article about sleep paralysis, and when you finish it at the end, it goes, well, thanks for reading. You're now predisposed to get it. Yeah. And you're like, that horror thing that I read out of morbid curiosity you're saying is going to happen to me now. Thanks.
Yep.
Horrific.
I've got to say my other one, though, is, and people are probably going to think I'm a bit of a cop-out for this, I really like whenever National Geographic do a real good, like, report or study on something, because I think they're always a joy to read, and they're normally always they're pretty much always well sourced and cited and things like that,
and well written,
and I just think I know a lot. One of my big influences for the Skeleton Lake one, I think both times actually were, some of my sources for those were the National Geographic ones, National Geographic articles that just did such a good job of covering it.
Yeah, I mean, because also they're trying to make it entertaining as well.
Yeah, and it was good. I just like National Geographic. Again, I don't know if that makes me terrible.
No, not really. I mean, I said I really like nature. It's not like I really read anything in there because it's boring and dry. So for someone to put it forward in a way that is easy to digest,
without a doubt, and it's like, I think it's that ability to make something that would be dry actually, make you a bit more enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people have their problems with it, but I like IFL science because it makes it accessible because it's pushing it right. Like it's pushing it into my face. I read it and I go, that's interesting. Then I go and do research, and I have used it for a lot of things.
I was going to say, if people don't like IFL science, then they might have an issue with some of our episodes, because there's been times where I've used them as sources.
Yeah, and PBS Spacetime, very dry content. They seem to put it in a way that just makes me have the whole mind blown moment, like, oh wow, the universe. It's fantastic.
Okay, I've wedged this one in the middle, and we can skip over it. What was the most scarring thing?
Scarring. See, I was just having to read through here to try and get an idea together. Let's have a look. Most scarring. Oh, well, actually,
I know which one it is for me, but
I've literally just landed on it. It's definitely this. It's the Stanford Prison Experiment.
Yeah. Okay, we have the same one.
The Stanford Prison Experiment.
It was our metaphorically dark episode.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because then we had the literally dark episode.
Spontaneous human combustion and the Stanford Prison Experiment. Yeah, those are some heavy topics.
Oh, it was certainly a time.
The Stanford Prison Experiment, though, it's the fact that I know that in the end it kind of seemed like the way that the experiment was run means that people aren't like this, but they are if they get told to be like this. But the problem was they had been told to be like that. There's nothing untrue about what had happened in the prison. But the fact that it didn't mean anything about human, morality or something was besides the point. The fact is that actually happened, and people were abused, and they had trauma afterwards.
Yep.
And to have to read about it and hear about what had happened,
it was certainly a time.
It's the fact that I had to read about and then this person did this, and there was no, but what did we learn from it? We learned nothing. Just horrible things happened there, and people didn't have a good time, and that's just it. We don't do psychology experiments like that anymore. Yeah, but it happened, and that was troubling. Definitely.
I suppose the other one to mention, I guess, because mine is the same as yours. I'm not going to lie. The Stanford Prison Experiment. I remember just sitting there for a few hours afterwards and just being like, "This is just upsetting."
Oh, you know what? Actually, now that you mention it, and a runner-up, I would say, is Scientology. Yeah, because obviously we spoke about whatever I'd brought up, but I read a lot more than that. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't include because the problem was there was so much horrible stuff going on behind the scenes. I couldn't include all of it because we'd be talking about it all day, but it's all there, and I've read through all of it, and I just picked what I thought were exemplary of the things that were happening behind the scenes. Yeah, it's horrific.
Yeah, I'm actually very grateful I didn't have to look into that one.
I'd turn around to my friend and just be like, this, and they'd go, that's horrible. And then I'd have to turn back and carry on.
So I suppose another one for the list that springs to mind as well for sort of scattering episodes was 23, Dancing Mania. Which was also the Hat Man and Shadow People and Sleep Paralysis episode.
Understandably, pretty horrific episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mass hysteria, basically, the whole dancing phenomenon thing.
It's again, but I think a really interesting factor, I guess, is or a common factor, I suppose, with them all is that it's all that, you know, they're all kind of scary because they have happened.
Yeah.
And you know, they're all examples of things that have happened, and
these people danced until they died, and I'm like, well, it doesn't matter what we know about that phenomenon. Those people died because they couldn't stop dancing. What the hell's going on there? Yeah, again, I think it is a case of if it's just recounting something horrible that happened, it doesn't matter what we know about it. The fact that you have to recount an historical event where people died or they were, you know, hurt or harmed or just had a horrible experience. Yeah, those are the ones that scare me, basically.
Yeah. What was your favourite topic?
Favourite topic? Oh, come on. Favourite episode is basically the same thing. Let me have a look.
No, I mean, as in, like, topic. What's the one that got you the most enthusiastic about it? Because I know, I know mine immediately. The one I got super excited about.
I go straight in for the double slit experiment when it comes to what I get hyped about and what I get excited. But I would like to, because I saw it on the list there, one that I liked the most. So the actual topic that I went, I like that for whatever reasons, was the dreaming, which is the Aboriginal sort of view of how life works, like the cycle of creation. So it's just, there is the dreaming, so there's the dream time, which is separate from reality. And that's where you exist as an entity, as like a consciousness. And then you are drawn into the world, into a child, and like put into that mortal coil. You are born then into this world. You live your entire life, and then when you die, you return to the dreaming and you just dream again. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I feel like I'm glad that I rounded off, because I was talking about this man, you know, the guy who turns up in all your dreams, apparently. Yeah. But then to just round off that section with the dreaming, it seemed like a very wholesome... a lot of our topics could be quite pessimistic or perhaps, you know, analytical.
Well, as we've just said, we sometimes have to talk about dark things.
Yeah. So to just go, I'm not giving this any weight, but here's what these people believe, and isn't that nice? So yeah, I really liked that one. Yeah.
I know the one that I think I got the most excited for was the 32, Dark Matter and Dark Energy.
I love physics,
there was just something about those two particular topics that really were just like, this is cool. I was just, the entire time I was looking up, and the entire time we were talking about, I'm like, this is just cool. This is like I can watch Star Trek and hear about dark matter and dark energy, but right here, right now, I can just chat about it in my living room because that's actually a real thing that exists.
Yeah.
That I was like...
So this is what I mean, like, we can go and research about these, and we have enriched ourselves by learning about it, and then also be able to play with the idea of it in a way that is compelling for people who, like, even if I have friends who don't want to talk about science, and then I bring some of these topics at them, it's interesting for anyone because it's these crazy things.
It's almost, in a way, I sometimes look at it as, at least when I'm writing, I'm trying to make it as, you know, accessible as possible, and in doing so, it means that it becomes less of it's this big science thing. It's like, oh no, this is a thing I can just have a conversation with actually anyone about, because you don't need any background knowledge. Yeah. We're just having a chat about dark matter. Oh, you're not sure what that is? Okay, here's a dead quick rundown on what that is and how it works.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that wild?
This explains these things in reality that you come to know and love. But even stuff like, you know, say if we're talking about Skeleton Lake or something like that, you don't need to know anything. You just go, there's a lake, it's full of skeletons. What's going on there? And I think that little inkling of mystery always hooks in anyone, because we're all just curious monkeys at the end of the day, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Suppose I was going to say what was your favourite study, but I suppose we've kind of had that one, haven't we? When we're talking about articles and things, and I think that one came up. So what has been your favourite bit?
Favourite bit?
Because we have had many a bit on this show.
I'm going to try and think.
And I know a lot of them we do in post.
Yeah. Hestalin Lights. It was like an advert. Like Hestalin Lights will defend you in court in small claims court. But then also, how many strikes does it take to get to the geometric core? I was just throwing out a bunch of bits. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hestalin Lights. Taste the rainbow. And I was laughing about this as well. We've done a lot of bits, and there are a lot of different types of comedy. They're not always puns. They're not always fourth wall breaking or like, you know, just absurdism. We just got a full range of things.
Yeah, we
so
just
like,
kind of we just dabble in every element of comedy.
I like having a laugh.
Yeah, and I like that, you know, I think it helps not keep everything so dry, or sometimes it can just lighten the tone if we're talking about something that's a bit much, or you know.
Yeah, I suppose we've probably had some dark jokes as well.
The point is, it's like it's trying to take the sort of the raw information and go, right, let's not make this, you know, unpalatable. Let's be human beings over the top of it.
And you know what I find as well, when it comes to I'm trying to get across information, the way that I do that, I always try and inject a bit of humour into it. Even just in my everyday life, I'm cracking jokes left, right, and centre.
You are, and it just makes like things more engaging.
Definitely,
it just keeps the conversation flowing. It's like, I know sometimes we'll be waiting and you'll throw in, like, you'll do a bit or a joke, and it's like, right, I'm back on it, I'm reinvigorated. Let's I've been laughing, I've lost my place, but now I've found my place again. We're all good. And it's just that it keeps that kind of energy and momentum of the show going.
Yeah, and you know, I can't lie, I have fun doing this show.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
It is. You know,
we've been going a year, and I just have a lot of fun.
I've got to say, the one for me, I think my favourite bit has to be the déjà vu and jamais vu. Because writing it was absolute hell.
Yeah, we coordinated. That's one of the only ones recently where we've coordinated on it. Well, we did Dark Matter and Dark Energy, so that was a coordination. Deja Vu and Jamais Vu makes sense, doesn't it?
We've done more sort of tied topics recently, where it's like the overarching theme is similar, but we're both researching separate stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Deja Vu and Jamais Vu was another one where we were like really working quite closely with it, because we were trying to mirror it, and then writing the scripts for that and having to take chunks from bits of script A and bits of script B and move them around and then
like, tweak them slightly. And then, what was it? So there was the intro, and then there was the intro again by me, but slightly different, because Jamais Vu is when something seems different.
You know what? I'm just going to pull up the script because I think it'll be funny. Just vamp for me. We can vamp because
I think what it was you did the intro, and then you did the intro again, like very, very quickly afterwards, which was kind of illustrating deja vu, where you hear the same thing again. And then we did the deja vu section, and then I did the intro slightly modified to say, oh, jamais vu, where things seem new and different. And then we went into that section, then at the end you repeated yourself again, and I was like, oh man, see, these are some meta jokes right here.
I definitely have got to say it always stuck in my brain because it was one of the few bits of, I suppose, planned comedy we'd used. We normally just kind of riff off ourselves.
Yeah. To be honest, I like that the format that we've gone for is a very kind of free-form way of being like creative. So like more recently, you might have noticed that we have a new intro. We got a little like like theme song, I suppose.
Yeah.
And like a new logo, and then. There's a lot that we've put into like the format of the podcast as well. So to be able to be creative in creating logos, backdrops, music, and then for us to be able to coordinate on themes of topics and things like that, it's just a lot of fun because I feel like I'm not expected to be a certain way with how I'm writing my notes and what topic I want to go for. So I can be creative in the way that I want to. Like when we were talking about the cryptids, I'm like, well, here's the tall tale, here's deep sea gigantism, here's the actual real animals that it's based off, here's trivia about those animals.
Yeah.
You just get to go at it.
You get to really kind of you get to be creative in however you want to write it and however you want to do it, and obviously with all our other facets in the sense of the opening and the logo and the stuff like that, because I know I really enjoyed doing that logo.
That's original music as well. For the intro.
It was so good. You just turned up and you were like, oh yeah, I've just been messing with this synth thing. What do you think? And I'm just sat there like, you made this? This is amazing.
I'm really happy with it, and it lends us an air of professionality.
Yeah.
professionalism.
Oh, and we got a new shiny mic. I always forget we got a new mic.
This boy, Yeti.
Yeah.
There we go. And a new camera as well.
Yeah.
To boot. Look at that. And we got a backdrop.
We got a backdrop. We got effectively a new studio.
So as we were going through all the old topics, so I could make that list, looking at some of our original ones where it's just bare table, nothing behind us, and like 2 microphones, and then they kind of clash in with each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there was a point where we realised that things were getting a bit echoey, so we threw a thing over the table, and we had just like a blanket hanging behind us.
I remember, because at first, a lot of that started as we were just... The living room I used to have the most horrendous echo. Like, what we have now, it's not too bad now, assuming it's because we have got carpeted floors, and we're in a bit of a better position.
And we have a blanket.
Yeah, but where we were... Oh my God, it was the most hilarious setup I've ever encountered. So we'd have to move the table up. And then we tried many different things, but the one we landed on was we'd move the table out. There'd be just enough room for us behind, and we'd sort of create up a little bit of a set. So we'd start by putting blankets on either side to try and reduce sound. And then the weirdest thing I had to do every week was stand on a chair and thumbtack blankets into the roof, so that from like an angle from the camera, it like you wouldn't be able to see the blankets, but there would be something to block the sound of us.
This weird, makeshift like sound proofing.
Yeah, you know what though? We got there though. Like it never sounded like we had a few hurdles, but we got it to a point where it did sound quite good.
I think the only thing that fixed it for us was just using one microphone. So I know obviously having multiple microphones in a soundproof room is perfectly fine because they're only going to pick up what they're supposed to pick up. But because we had like bare walls, say I would speak, it would go into the microphone, it would go into this microphone, then it would bounce off the wall, come back, land in both microphones again. So you get this crazy like reverb, and there's nothing we could do about it at all.
And we tried so many things. Like, well, I say you did the bulk of the technical work.
I tried lots of things. None of them worked. We just threw one. Well, actually, my mic broke, which was quite fortuitous because it meant that we don't sound crazy anymore. I
do love this mic. It's very chunky, and I feel like we've got a bit more, it's got a bit more range than the other one as well. I don't feel like we need to be as close to it as we used to, which is nice.
Yeah, and we've settled on loads of audio editing settings to like boost low signals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like we do auto tune ourselves a fair bit.
Yeah, it's just crazy that these are things that I learned from like making videos on YouTube, doing like machinima and stuff like that, where it would be voice recording. So I learned quite a lot about audio editing and things like that, and it's been nice to bring that to the podcast as well.
I found the script for the Deja Vu and Jamais Vu.
Go on, let's proof it.
So we've got a normal opener by me,
very normal. You know, find us here, like and subscribe.
Yep, go us through to talk about some of the phenomenon. And it explains some of the phenomenon, but there's a gap there where I'm assuming you started to repeat. Yeah, so I think it was after the second paragraph you repeated the first paragraph or something like that. No,
I think I was on the money with mine. Where
I'm not gonna lie, I thought
you
getting
do the intro
would
and
help.
then you start talking, and then we kind of start from the beginning again, so it seems weird.
There it is. I found it. Right towards. Because I know at one point towards the end, I just did the opening again. Yeah, I started to do the opening again right before the ending. I don't know why I thought my script would clear this up, because this script is more of a mess than...
Blind sight, though, I just saw that on your list there. The fact that people can be blind and they can still track objects because they can see, but their brain isn't turning it into the thing which you have, this experience that you have of seeing things. But the brain is still able to see. And the fact that you could take a bit out of that and go, well, let's have a look at consciousness then. Because apparently you can be conscious and aware and interact with things without having an experience of it. And just literally... It's
again chipping away at what we know is reality and just kind of going, oh.
Well, we have a very specific tight band focus on this element of it. And then we have one over here, but... overall, once you've sort of gone through all this content, you can bring it together into a proper cohesive argument around the nature of something like human consciousness. AIs as well. We've done stuff on AIs.
I'm just looking through the list and trying to see what kind of patterns we have, but we do actually kind of stick with pretty much the three we opened with, which was sort of supernatural, I am breaking these up a little bit from what they were. So we started with ghosts and poltergeists, but I feel like now we quite often will do something that is, I'll go with the word supernatural. Yeah. We don't do it super often, but when we do, we kind of dive into that same kind of practice of we try and make it a bit like a
story.
Yeah,
a tale.
You tell it because there may not be that much evidence, but you still want to tell a compelling story.
Yeah, because that I'm sure I said in a previous episode when I was checking back, I was like, oh, that is still true. It's nice to have that magic of the idea of it. You go, oh, the mystery. I want to know. Oh, there's something going on and it's fun.
I actually have very much loved when we would talk about something supernatural, and there is an explanation for it, but I'm very slowly petering in the explanation as we're talking about it, so that sort of hype is still going up. But giving out bits of information, I think it makes for a fun time. Yeah, I enjoy writing it at least.
I enjoy writing my stuff as well, and might I say, I think it's some nice content.
It is.
I'm happy with it.
Definitely.
Even if only one person watches this, or none. I enjoy making the show.
Yeah, I just enjoy making the show and researching the topics that much that, it's like...
It's rewarding and all itself.
Yeah, it is nice to do and make, and we enjoy it.
Podcast. Good cutscenes, but the gameplay is where it's at.
I will say the other theme we get is... I'm just going to go with space.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Because we had UFOs / curly... we had UFOs as our second episode, but I think we do talk about space a lot, because space is so cool! Space!
And there's so much of it. Again, if you look at a tiny little band of like fast radio bursts, black holes, neutron star mergers, like the speed of light, just like anything that we choose to talk about, and they all land under this kind of like space. Yet they can be such completely different things. Like the Big Bang, just literally anything that you can think of that is space related. They're not really related to each other, are they? Fast radio bursts and the Big Bang got nothing to do with each other.
They've got nothing to do with each other.
Yet they're equally deep.
Yeah, they're still a part of space. I suppose the other one would be I've got Curlian effect, so I suppose that would be debunking, or
that's like
earthly
fringe theories or phenomenon.
Yeah.
So the magnetic touch, thing where you can feel a force field and just sort of looking into that, I suppose, and then like placebos, those kind of things where it's just like a strange phenomenon that doesn't seem to make any sense, and then we just dig right into it.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Curlian effect, I think, really nice, because what happens from those experiments is very interesting and like confusing, and you go, what could be happening? But then we went into the science of it as well.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Discharge, electric discharge of like charged particles and stuff. Earthquake lights. Yeah. First you explain the phenomenon, and then we talk about the science, and I like that kind of stuff.
I think I really like that. Like, I just really like that each week I get to go away, and even if I'm not super interested in the topic, I get to just figure it out, and I get to just know a little thing that I didn't actually know before, and it might not be to any advanced level. It might just be that I've kind of just managed to wrap my head around it, and I think it's fairly obvious when I'm not 100% on what I'm talking about, because it sounds... Yeah. But, even then, I still feel like I've got something, and it's like, I just know this thing now. It's like, it might never be useful again, but it might come up in a pub quiz one day, or...
Yeah. Or just as a conversational thing.
Conversation starter. And
I think we're so ingrained, like, having gone through higher education and yourself also going through it, it's a case of you really need to know absolutely everything, know it really well, and know how to use it and stuff like that. And I don't like that. I'm like, can I not just know something for the fun of it? So I know a little bit about slime molds. I don't intend to make that my career, but isn't it interesting that I know something?
I don't think for 1 minute knowing about sailing stones will ever be useful to me.
But isn't it a nice bit of trivia?
Yeah, and to be honest, I think a lot of it, actually, personally, I think it has opened me up to different ways of thinking. Like, it expands, like, looking at the way other people look at things, looking at how, say a scientific research paper would look at something, and looking at how maybe just, say an eyewitness looks at a situation, all these different perspectives and different ways of thinking and different ways of execution. I genuinely think it's made me, like, think more, like, in just day-to-day life, like, when I go in to approach something to figure something out or to complete a task, I just kind of take a different, not always the same approach, because I'm just more aware of the thousands of different ways you can approach things.
This is why I said enriching.
Yeah, definitely.
It just kind of, isn't it a better experience to have had this information, this knowledge, and this experience and these conversations, just to kind of make you feel like you've got more going on inside you. But like, definitely with ones like, say, free will, things like that, from having had those conversations and done that research, I literally live my life differently now because, back then I was so like, we can work it out, there's a deeper meaning. And then when it was brought up today, I just went, well, it doesn't matter, because if I have free will, nothing changes. If I don't, it certainly feels like it. So I've very much developed the sort of the approach to just go, well, just this is what's happening, so let's just roll with it, as opposed to even a year ago where I would have really wanted to get to the very bottom of it. So not only is it enriching in the fact that I have more information, more conversation, and stuff
definitely.
like that, I now literally approach my life differently.
And I think that is very true. Yeah, it not only do we love making the podcast, it also kind of weirdly it does bounce back on us, but in some really nice ways. So like we've just been saying, we get to learn things. It changes our perspective on things. Like, I know in a lot of positive ways, like it makes us like look at things like more so, and I just think it's a good
to be able
thing to do.
To be able to sort of exercise a critical eye on new topics that come to you because you have information about possibly the psychology behind something or the physics behind what can happen, and people talk about stuff, and you can go into a new conversation, literally being able to give more because you know more.
Yeah. And it's
enriching.
It's enriching and nice to learn things.
Fulfilling. I like
should we wrap up there? Start the process of.
Yeah, I mean, we've been banging on for about 3/4 of an hour now.
Oh well, we said this one could run long. We're having a relaxed time.
You know what? I've had fun revisiting some of these.
So I suppose that brings us up to the weekly segment, the nice stuff we like. I still love that as a segment name. I know what I'm going to go for.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Because I have no idea what I'm going to say.
Okay, that's fair. Treat it like I'm vamping.
Okay.
So, one thing I've been getting, I think I would say a lot more into than I ever used to recently, is a YouTube channel called Loading Ready Run.
Okay.
They do like weekly. How do I describe it? They do a lot of really cool like online media stuff.
Okay.
And I'm skimming over a few things. So they do some work for or in conjunction with Wizards of the Coast, which is the Friday Night Magic, which is every week they do like a comedy sketch on Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
That is like quite a big thing. They do a lot of blogging of like their work because they have like a studio, and they're very like they're like crowdfunded, the part of Patreon. I can't recommend them more highly. They're amazing, they're absolutely amazing. And they're definitely worth supporting if you've got a couple bucks to spare.
A couple bucks.
Yeah,
a quick buck.
They're all seemingly really lovely, and they're really funny. Like they do a thing called Loading Ready Live, which is like somewhere between sort of like a sketch panel. It's like Friday Night Live.
Okay.
That kind of concept, but they've got like skits that they would have released as their own videos like at some point, but they've also got extra bits in with this sort of big sort of like they'll all sit in a room and then they'll be panning off to do bits, or they'll do some bits on the show.
So this is what I mean by like how we've developed a format here. To have a format like that where you go, well, we could just go, here's a video. Instead, you've made a show.
Yeah,
and that's nice.
And that's the thing, because they do, like I said, they do quite a lot. They've got like their like behind the scenes sort of podcast thing. They've got tons of different little sort of podcasts, and then they also do like just comedy as well. But I know there's one thing they do which is awesome, which is called Tinker Tailor Solder Fry, I think, where they'll be working on like maybe restoring a computer or a piece of electronics, and then they have like some hobby segments that they stream. Sometimes they'll just be streaming video games. Sometimes it's like YouTube videos. They have a huge wealth of content. I think they're really fun. I really enjoyed watching them because I used to watch them quite a lot a couple of years ago, and I just didn't appreciate it as much back then, I guess.
Yeah.
And now coming back to it, it's been a really fun time. They got a lot of content, and well, I mean, they're still going. So.
Well, that's the proof's in the pudding, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's an audience for it.
So yeah, Loading Ready Run. If you want to go give them support, please do, because I think they're amazing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, seeing as I couldn't think of a thing to bring up, and then you started talking about a YouTube channel, I was like, oh, there is a YouTube channel I've been watching, so we'll keep it on that then. So I've been, Corridor Digital. They're a channel that do a lot of animated things like portals in real life. And then they'll just do a little skit like video. They're animators basically, so they do visual effects. So they do all kinds of crazy visual effects, and they really mess with
oh shit,
with what.
I hope the mic didn't pick that up.
It definitely did. But they've got an offshoot channel. So this is the main one where they actually show the bits. They're really high production value. They look fantastic. I think they did an actual live action promotional thing for Shadow of Mordor. So apart from the films, their thing is the only other live action officially endorsed Lord of the Rings content.
I haven't seen a ton of it, but I've seen a couple of videos just looking at it now.
Yeah.
It's very odd having my actual laptop in front of me as we do a show instead of my iPad.
Literally, I was vamping. It was all good.
I can just search things. It's great.
So they've got an offshoot channel, which is kind of like a second channel where they're a bit more informal. They've got a different format, and they'll do stuff where they just react to movie clips. So people will go review this movie, and then they'll just say like one that is notorious for having bad CG, or a new one that has weird CG, like Alita Battle Angel or something like that. And then they sit down and they, as visual effects artists, pick apart different parts of scenes. And sometimes they go, right, what we're going to do, we're going to make it better. We're going to ourselves edit it and make it look better. So I think it was in The Mummy, when The Rock comes out as the Scorpion King, and he just looks so doofy, like PS2 cutscene graphics, like he got stupid face, like he barely looks like The Rock. And they were just like having a laugh, just ripping it apart and explaining why it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And then they went, you know what, we can do better. So then they like go back and they edit it and make it look better than it did originally. It's a really fun channel, and they got loads of videos out. And then also you see from that side channel that they do bits, and then when they change a scene or something, they go, we can do better. Watch this, and then they make it, and then they go, this is actually quite good. We're going to put it on the main channel. So you get to see the sort of behind the scenes for how they did that.
Oh, that's cool. I'm always a big fan of like behind the scenes stuff. I always like seeing how stuff's made.
It's a very interesting one. I would recommend it personally.
Oh, that's
Corridor Digital.
Corridor Digital. Good stuff. So there you have it. That's our Birth-vers-mas-ary.
Birth-vers-mas-ary.
Birth-vers-mas-ary. Yeah.
Birth from birthday, obviously. Anniversary and Christmas. Birth-vers-mas-ary.
Birth-vers-mas-ary. Special. Yeah. That is it from us this week.
For this year. So long, folks. No, we're carrying on.
We're going to keep going, don't worry.
It's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year. How the heck did we do that? Don't forget about the initiative. Yeah, that's right. Back on it.
On brand.
On brand. Introduce the podcast to anyone who you think might enjoy it. Let us know your names, either in the YouTube comments or emails. Podcasts. Or email us at phenomenautspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll give you a shout out live on air if you would like. Come on, please. It's our Birth-vers-mas-ary. Treat us.
Like I said, suggest a TV show or a movie for us to watch. It's all good.
I guess we'll catch you all next week. Business as usual.
Business as usual.
Cheers to another year.
Oh, cheers. We did a cheers. Yours is empty.
There's a swig.
I like how you're like Red Bull. I'm like water. Liquid living H2O. Life nectar of the universe.
Look, the bean juice makes me go fast, and I really need that sometimes.
I find it weird.
If anyone is listening to that, they can quote me on that.
Oh, we're gonna have the little sloshy as well. Some ASMR.
No.
Right, you said you haven't seen Dark Knight.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch Dark Knight after this.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna order some pizza first though, because I'm really hungry.
Dark Knight, you will enjoy this. You said about enriching. Being rich.
It's one of those I get to experience. I always love it because the thing is, people will come to me with like something that I should have seen, because there are a lot of things that you should have seen.
Oh yes.
But the problem is they'll be like, oh, you should watch it. It's so good, and then I just don't get round to it because I feel like it's been a bit over. It sounds stupid. I'm like, I'll eventually get round to it, but I would much rather that person be like, oh, let's just watch it.
It's okay. We're gonna watch The Dark Knight. I envy you.
Don't worry, you get to do what I do, which is you get to watch someone else's reaction to the content, so then you can relive it for the first time vicariously.
Oh.
I just think we watch so much content I've already seen.
Let's do it.
Let's go.